did it!
Yeah,
I hit record! We are recording now.
Okay.
Are you sure you didn't just stop recording?
No. I've got little...
I've done that before.
I've got squigglies on the screen now, so I know it's recording.
All my faith is in your two hands.
So, how about this?
So how about this? Alan hit record.
I am Alan Dempsey.
And
My job here is done.
And I am Rafiq Shaheen, and with us is the very talented...
Natasha Samreny.
Yep.
I didn't know I was going to be saying my own name, and he just sort of cued me, right? Like, what if I didn't... You didn't prep me. What if I didn't know the answer?
She wasn't rehearsed to say her
Right.
name.
Look,
to be honest. To be fair.
Look, when the Illuminati asked me how this podcast got put together, they need to know it was on a professional quality.
Oh, I
right?
watched an Alex Jones interview today. And there are the people who run the world. This is don't dispute me, because here's
putting his hands together like an evil scientist mode as we speak.
I was doing a circle because there's the people in the middle,
Illuminati signs.
and then there's the people around them, and then there's people. Or you can think of it as a pyramid. There are the people on the top, and the people.
Ding ding ding.
And here's the best part about him is that he'll just say something and go, confirmed by the New York Times. And you go, yeah? Really? Where? When? How? Like, I guarantee that the New York Times never said what the fuck you just said.
Nice.
There's no way.
It's like a half-assed attempt at like citation. Like
Right.
he knew that he had to say the book, but he doesn't understand everything else.
Yes. And then, so he had the circle diagram. It was literally just a circle with another one around it and another one around it. And the guy interviewing him goes, it looks like an everlasting gobstopper. And Alex Jones, this joke just flew right. And he was like, yeah, exactly. And he just kept talking.
That's that bullshit argument technique that people that don't know what they're doing do all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Where they just go, it's peer-reviewed by scientists. And you're just like... What journal where? What scientist?
And Trump is not part of the child molestation Illuminati because Alex Jones vetted him.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry
So
about him.
everyone's good.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Look, I'm very curious. When Alex Jones vets a person, how long does that last? Right? Like,
I'm more interested in the process.
That's very curious.
Like, let me go to my ancient scrolls that show the secret power child molestation structure that the whole world is built upon. And where does Trump fit into this?
See, my question is, because if he vets him, right? Let's say he vets him in 1998.
Okay.
Like, does that last 10 years?
Sure.
Right?
Did Trump go further up the pyramid?
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good question. A very valid question for a very valid conversation that we're
That
having.
will not be answered in this podcast.
I feel like you know, Natasha. That's why we invited you here today.
Why did she know?
Did you notice how I suddenly became silent when you asked me?
She was like, oh, fuck, they found me out.
I need more sparkling water.
I've always wanted to do that for merchandise, is just, like, if I get to, like, any measure of success, one of the merch pieces I want to have is just a shirt that says Illuminati auxiliary member and just a number, but all the shirts have the same number.
That's like those, what do you call those limited edition things that people collect? Like,
Right, yeah.
You so know that some of them have like, there's 20 number 9s.
Right. It's like, oh man, I got the number 9s. It's like, did you get the only number? There are 300 copies of these.
So did some kid in China.
Here's the thing about the Illuminati.
How do you know this?
Hang on.
I've known him for 5 minutes and I already don't
Here's
trust
the thing
him.
about the Illuminati. Why do they keep telling us that they're like? Why do they keep broadcasting themselves so idiots on YouTube can figure out
Right.
that Snow White is an Illuminati movie?
Because it's a distraction, because it's not true.
What?
Because
What?
yeah, the real people
You're
are
welcome.
skull and bone.
That's the thing. Whenever these people are like, if you notice in Snow White, they dance in this pattern, which is a pentagram, and that's like, okay, why?
Right.
Why did the animator put that in that movie? To what end? If you can figure it out, YouTube guy, now what? Okay, now what? It's true.
Well,
Snow White is an Illuminati movie.
That's the point.
Now what?
There doesn't have to be a therefore what. All the people so intrigued by those videos just spend their time watching those videos.
Right.
So
Yeah,
what happened?
That's a good point.
They have a very compound search history. It's just like it keeps adding hours to it.
There's a site I visit from time to time called Text from Superheroes, which is just like superheroes and supervillains sending text messages back and forth. And one of them is Batman texting Ra's al Ghul. He's like, "Hey man, just the next time we fight, can you stop saying this is going to your 1,000-year plan? Because none of us are going to be alive for when that happens." He's like, "Of course, because this is all going to my 1,000-year plan."
It's good.
Do you know my favorite site that I ever visited for any type of entertaining content was Homestar Runner and stuff.
Oh, I missed that so much.
I missed that, and I missed the effort that it took where you couldn't just like open your Facebook and like you have a feed. Like you had to make effort. You had to type in the website and you had to scroll through the ones that you hadn't seen yet, and you had to press play. There was no audio.
And there was
play.
always a secret click in there, like while you don't know this.
What?
Oh my god.
Okay, he's part of the Illuminati.
There were so many of those videos. You had to actively click stuff while you were watching them.
Can I say fuck?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of this podcast.
I swear to God. Like,
This is like Mario World shit. No.
Yeah. Every time a new character walked on screen, click them. Sometimes nothing would happen. Sometimes the whole cartoon would change, and it would turn into this like other thing. Like they had built into the code or whatever that you could go to other stuff.
Simultaneously, because that means my entire adolescence was a lie, but then that also means I get to go back through all that shit and relive it.
Especially the emails, because certain words, like if you clicked on them.
How did you figure that out?
Did
your friend tell you?
I think one day I was just watching
like
one, and
started using your mouse.
Well, your pointer turns into a finger or something. I can't remember.
And you were like, "What is this?"
Yeah, and I was like, "Huh?"
This is the
And then I went back and watched all the videos I'd seen before, and I started like, "Holy shit! There's secret shit everywhere."
I think I wish that that's how life was. Like all of a sudden you discover like that there's a secret click, and then you get to go back to all the levels and.
Oh yeah, that'd be so nice. It'd be like,
I don't want to know what happens in me. I don't want to get into heaven. I just want to know that I wasn't doing it all wrong. That's why it was so hard. Give me the secret key, and I will go back and get 100 up. Like
I love how nerdy this conversation is right now. I love the idea of like you're just talking to someone and you're like, "So, girlfriend," and like word balloon pops up, and you're like, "Girlfriend," click, takes you back to high school to like, you're like, "Oh, I can save this relationship." Like,
right, what if that's what deja vu and bad dreams are really about? Is that they're giving you the key, like the sorcerer's key, and you just have to put it in your magic bag and go back.
That was actually one of the things about The Matrix, like way back in the day, that I thought was actually more fucked up than anything else.
What?
Was their idea of deja vu was just, when the Matrix changes something or reloads something, you see...
Spoiler alert!
I know, right? If you haven't seen the movie
We've only
yet.
had 20 years.
I haven't seen the whole movie.
Really?
I got tired of those.
That is the best way.
I was like, I get this. This is life.
There are
Sorry to interrupt you.
there are a handful of movies. There are a handful of movies that like everyone's seen that are like classics that I never.
Right. Like
what?
When
I saw The Matrix, I was
Okay.
20 years ago, so I was
Yeah.
20, and it was like 1999. I saw it. I was like, okay, sure. Like I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Yeah, it was a movie. And then like all my buddies were like, Matrix, really?
Yeah.
Really? The Matrix? Because you know what else came out that year? Fucking Fight Club. I saw that movie like 6 times in the theater.
Yeah, dude, until you said that, I hadn't put those 2 years together.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, they both seem like that same edgy kind of...
I saw Fight Club in the theater so many times that I started like thinking like Tyler, and I had to stop going to see that movie.
Tyler,
Yeah,
what's his name?
That's Brad Pitt.
Okay, cool. I only know 2.
Sometimes
I
you
fell
just
asleep
wanna
in that
destroy
movie
something
too.
beautiful.
Kinda, yeah. It got weird. Same thing happened to me with Natural Born Killers. I had to quit watching that one when I was like 17.
Why?
See, this is
Same reason, because I started thinking like Mickey and Mallory. I was like, yeah, and I was like, no, I don't need this.
So what you're telling us is if you watch enough Alex Jones videos...
No, I would have to watch the same Alex Jones video over and over and over again.
Maybe you're not clicking on the videos enough. Maybe the answers are in the videos.
But it would actually help me now because we have a podcast and I could do like parody stuff.
Right.
So maybe I should go watch a bunch of Alex Jones. That would be. I mean, there are worse ways to spend your time. Really.
Are there?
If you're experiencing deja vu right now, click on the pause
Right.
button and then fast forward 5 seconds. Hold your breath and close your eyes.
If you're watching this on YouTube, click Rafiq's left eye in the cartoon.
Not the eyebrow, damn it, the eye.
Eyebrow. I did my little outline very specifically.
Exact pixel size.
Yeah.
Get the iris. And then,
Oh,
That's
he
a
has
different
no
thing.
iris.
You click on the outside of the eye to
Yeah.
get one thing.
Okay.
You want the real fucking truth? Click on the
Yeah.
iris.
3 times in a row.
Yeah. You have to know the code. It's Morse code for I love
That's
Satan.
it.
And then
I will say this, as far as like Easter eggs and stuff like that goes, there's always a moment where like you see an Easter egg and like for me when I watch a movie I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's a neat little reference. And then like 2 weeks later somebody comes out with like the 100 or so Easter eggs they found. I'm like, holy shit, what did you do with your day off, man? Like, how do you have that much free time that you're like, yeah, minute 23, egg on the counter. That's a reference to Eggman from Sonic because the producer really loves Sonic. And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
have you ever watched that documentary? I can't remember the name of it. It's the one where a bunch of different people tell you what The Shining is really about, and the people listening to this can't see my air quotes. Really about.
He's going hard on air quotes.
Here's what I really like. The documentary never makes fun of the people. You can do that all by yourself.
right.
You know, the documentary never humiliates them. It lets them, but so many people have watched that movie and added so much shit in their own brains that just is not in the film. Like, they'll get down to, like, you see how when he gets out of the chair, he uses his left foot first? Like, he was an actor that was told, stand when the guy comes around the corner. Like, do you think that Kubrick was, like, an animator?
Right.
He was, like, moving everyone's eyebrows and fucking...
I mean, knowing Kubrick, like, he is very much like, nope, this painting's wrong, gotta start all over.
Yeah, some directors are pretty intense.
I guess. Or like they go all the way down to like, see, if you look at the magazine he's holding, it's like a blurry, like he's holding a magazine and he's walking too fast for you to be able to see
it with the human eye.
because I mean, it's bizarre. It's really bizarre. So you were saying something right before we recorded, before I brought up the fascinating topic of Alex Jones. What were you talking about that we wanted to hear?
Oh, we were talking about the unnamed casino for the Indian tribe here in Tampa.
I don't know what one you're talking about.
Natasha had asked me what were the different tiers of like being the special members at the casino, and I guess the thing that you were fascinated about was how
They're paying you to lose.
Yeah, so like
because I heard Scientology. I was fucking with the computer, but somebody said something about Scientology, so hit me.
So like the way it works is the more important you are to the casino is just dependent upon how much money you lose in any given quarter, right? So if you lose I think it's $100,000 a quarter, so like every 3 months, you get to maintain your status as one of our black cards, one of the X cards, right?
If you lose consistently.
Right.
Yeah. So like
all right.
So for example, like today they're giving away like today and yesterday they do giveaways, right? So if you're an X card, they'll
If you're the biggest loser.
right?
That's why I compared it to Scientology.
Wow.
Right. So and that's the problem I always have is because like these people, like, management is always like, you gotta respect these people. You gotta really care what these people think. And it's like, I know you're a professional loser.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't give a shit about what you think.
right? Like, and you want me to bow and scrape to the... you lost how much money? Like, I guess I have to.
Well,
like,
I can't help but respect that.
Right.
You're still here.
Right, and, like, I've seen dudes go into that building where, like, they will bring out like stacks, like stacks
of
like,
losses.
Right, and literally, I remember.
Snickers.
Yeah, I remember. I remember one night I was upstairs and I had to go do what's known as a emergency drop, where you replace the cash box in the machine, right? And we had to replace this box twice in the same night because the guy had sat there and he stuffed it with so many $100 bills that it got full. Then we pulled it out, took it back, and then...
Thanks for all these $100 bills.
And then, like, an hour later, I got called back to the machine because he had stuffed it full of...
Same motherfucker in 1 hour?
Full of $100 bills because he's just sitting there going, click,
Lord,
click,
please
click.
give me that much money to throw away.
I know.
Right?
That's bizarre.
Is that considered sociopathic? Like, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars
No,
and
that's
you willingly,
compulsive.
like, just shove it.
Right, yeah.
But no attachment to it. Like, maybe he's hit a certain level of nirvana that we could only do.
Yeah.
It's
Like, no material attachment.
Right? Like, you just see him floating in a lotus position.
Maybe
like,
he's actually a monk.
Right? It's like, material things have no meaning in the true world.
But hitting the slots is the shit.
Yeah.
Clicking on the screen. Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
The one time I made real money at the casino, it was my birthday, incidentally, and I did the thing you're supposed to do. I put, let's say, 20. I put 20 in. It was like, if I hit 0, I'm done. But if I hit 40 or more, I'm done. So I've got my top and my bottom, you know. Out of nowhere, I'm at like 500 or something, and I ended up burning the top 100 because like I got the juice. I was like, oh no, I got this shit. And once I had burned about 80 to 100 of these winnings that I did not deserve, you know, I was like, fuck, I gotta stop right now. I should have stopped 100, you know.
Yeah.
And people do that all the time. People will win a jackpot. They'll get like $2,000 or whatever, and they'll go, great, time to keep on playing.
Ugh.
And it's like,
Walk the fuck away.
right, and it's like, how much money did you just win that you're going to start spending it again, dude? Like, but I don't know, like, the problem I've been facing is, like, on the one hand, I feel really judgmental because I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm like, hey man, maybe I'm just jealous that I don't have that
Yeah.
much money and free time, that it's a Monday morning at 6 a.m. and you're here stuffing this thing full of $100,000.
I mean,
You need to reprioritize your life.
yeah, man, like,
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
yeah.
So, I think it's time. I think it's time for our ongoing segment. And that segment is called, Hey, what's making you miserable this week, Rafiq?
This is the perfect segment.
Yeah. So,
By the way, Natasha, this is going to be really unimportant, whatever he's about to say.
I know, that's why I'm so excited.
So the legitimate problem, the thing that's been making me miserable this week, is video games. And again,
Okay. By the way, let me just, before you go any further, whatever you're about to say, it's not a problem.
okay.
It's like being allergic to cocaine. You can't just don't do cocaine. Like, this is not a problem. Please continue.
Well, so I guess it's more of an issue with like media as a whole, because I've been playing video games as I've known to do, right? And the thing I keep on running into recently is like I keep on playing these games that are stuffed full of content that has no meaning. You know what I mean? Like it's just something to fill time. It doesn't serve any
side quests.
Right, it doesn't serve any purpose to the story. It doesn't make you more immersed in the world. You know what I mean? And I had the reason why I use video games is because I had the same problem with a book I read recently, where it's like this book has an interesting premise, but you go off on all these little tangents in the book, and it does nothing for the characters. It doesn't make me know the characters more. It doesn't make me more interested in the world. It's like the whole premise of the book is
Wait, no. We're talking about video games.
We're talking about video games. So the reason why, again, the thing that got me the most is I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and there's a point in that game.
Electric Boogaloo.
I wish,
Okay.
but no. There's a point.
Electric
Boogaloo
I'm an old man, and I make references to early '80s movies that weren't good or popular the first time.
Sure.
I think I've come to the conclusion that Electric Boogaloo and Fists of Fury are always acceptable.
Electric Boogaloo should be the subtitle to every part 2.
Right?
Ghostbusters 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Right.
Red-
Or I also make the allowance for Fists of Fury.
2. Electric Boogaloo. What was Fist of Fury? I don't even know what that is.
Fists of Fury was like the part 2 to shit. What was the original movie? I forget, but it was the subtitle to like a previous movie.
Oh, so it was whatever 2 Fist of Fury.
You're right, and so I go that like Passion of the Christ 2, Fist of Fury.
Oh, hell yeah. No. Passion of the Christ 2 Electric Boogaloo is way better. I want to see Jesus breakdance.
What's your part 2 movie, right, Natasha?
I'm still trying to process all the words you guys just said. What do you mean? What is
There's
my
a
part
there's a
two?
movie called Breakin', which is a breakdancing movie that's delicious. Then they made Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, okay.
And if you just call it Breakin' 2, somebody should punch you in the mouth. Because the name of the movie
It's so good.
is Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
When Turbo is in the hospital, and the whole hospital
Someone is named Turbo?
Yeah, Turbo, come on, keep up. When Turbo is in the hospital, and the whole hospital breaks out into a dance routine, that's fucking gold. There's a rec center. They're trying to save the rec center. That's the movie. There's a guy in the rec center who's just a mime. He just lives as a mime. Every time you see him, he's in the paint, and he's doing the wall. He's a mime. That's how that's what he's about.
This is a real
Yes.
This is a real movie that is gold nuggets of joy.
Gold nuggets still at the bottom of some sedimented river.
Right. Yes.
The whole,
We harvest.
yes, 100% yes. The whole movie, you're laughing at it
Okay.
until
Oh no.
Turbo does a breakdance in a rotating room,
And then what?
and it is sincerely, no irony, one of the coolest things you'll ever see. Because he's so fluidly going from wall to wall, but they've got the camera turning too, so it looks like he's climbing the walls. It looks like he's upside down. But you never see the moment where the gravity shifts and he goes from that leg to that leg. It's fucking awesome.
It's one of those. To me, it's one of those things like when you watch Fred Astaire
Yeah.
Yes.
do the room dance, where you're like, "Holy shit! Like this is so novel,
Yeah.
right? Like this is something you've never seen."
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie is just get drunk, get with your buddies, throw it on.
Watch garbage.
Yeah, and just hurl comments at it until, I'm telling you, everybody's just laughing and throwing comments at it until Turbo starts breakdancing in that room, and then everybody kind of quiets down and leans in like, what is happening? It's so good.
But
Red Dead Redemption 2,
Right.
we're going to get through this.
but the conclusion though is every great movie, right?
Yeah.
If you give them a part 2,
Yeah.
the perfect subtitle is
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
Or,
Got
and
it.
my argument is, Fists of Fury is also an acceptable alternative. Right?
Terms of endearment to Fists of Fury. I got it.
I feel like two that I would appreciate that with would be Passion of the Christ, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so you're
Yeah.
Electric
Wrong?
Boogaloo. Yeah, no, that's.
Here's what you do.
I feel like it might lighten the theme. you
It's
know?
I trust me. When I say this is an ardent Christian, the image of Jesus coming off the cross and breakdancing.
Jesus doesn't have to. There's like 12 other guys
That's
hanging
true.
around.
That's true. Yeah.
And each one has like a specialty. One guy's really good at the backspin. One guy's really good at doing the worm. One guy's really got the pop lock robot shit going on.
I mean, we can't say Jesus didn't have this. He was walking on water.
Right.
That shit has not been redone since Michael Jackson did the moonwalk. So why not?
Oh, but Judas can't really dance. He's just stealing other people's dance.
Yes.
Every time one of the guys goes to the dance floor, he steals the girl.
Right.
He buys her a drink.
Oh no. Here's the best part.
That's why he sells them out for 60 pieces of silver. He's got.
And John Travolta's in there somewhere.
You're our go-to idea girl here, obviously. So let me throw this at you. In the breakdancing movies, there's always a scene where they have the breakdance fight. There's the bad guy breakdancers and the good guy breakdancers.
Yeah, why are breakdancers so angry? They're so
And yeah, there's always a problem. And they kind of breakdance at each other until one of the groups, everybody in the group, simultaneously just goes, ah! And they throw up their hands because they lost.
Right.
Yeah,
But I, as a viewer, have absolutely no idea why they lost and they won.
Totally.
So, the disciples, who are they breakdance fighting?
Who are they breakdance fighting?
Sure. I mean, I guess it'd be the pharaohs, not the pharaohs. I said it wrong.
But the Romans.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that other word.
Yeah, Philistines.
That'd be amazing if they breakdanced against the pharaohs. What if the pharaohs just like
The
came back from the
Philistines.
dead?
The Philistines.
Thank you. Aren't the Sumerians bad or Samaritans? I don't know.
Samaritan.
There's so much biblical knowledge in this room right now.
Before the concept of good Samaritan, that was the whole point. That it was a Samaritan, like the Samaritans weren't good, and it was the one person that was.
By the way, that's the part of the Bible that's super racist. Like
This is what I'm saying.
They just hated the Samaritans.
It's all about framing. It's all about framing your story.
Sure.
So why are the disciples the good guys?
Now
They were a bunch of like white dudes running around when everyone said that.
Well,
Jesus,
they were Arab
no,
dudes. They were Arab dudes. They were
I'm
Israeli.
talking about in the American version of the Bible story.
Sure.
I love that. The American
This is
version.
true, right? Right.
Sure. We got a blonde Jesus. He knows what he's up to. Yeah.
They're a bunch of white dudes that, at least coming from an anti-patriarchal standpoint, that their only framework for understanding women was that they're either the slut or the virgin. Therefore, the Mary or Mary. And there was no room in between any of the rest of the stories for any other women unless they were like serving food or...
But Jesus,
you know I'm
but
right.
Jesus was totally into the prostitute, and he like everybody's about to stone her, and he starts writing on the ground, and then he says,
Right.
"Go and sin no more," and he like frees her and keeps
That's
her
why
from
I
getting
said the
stoned.
rest of the guys.
The rest of the
Jesus
guys.
is the one that always has to break
Jesus
up
is
the
the
fight.
cool one, right? I got it. Okay, so the Philistines and the 12 disciples, they start
Breakdance
popping and locking against one another.
At a well.
And then Jesus has to like step in between them and be like, "Hey guys, let's all be chill." And then they all like feel bad about themselves.
But it happens at the end of the 3 days. That's when Jesus comes back because everyone's so pissed off and can't deal with and process what has just happened. And then all of a sudden, Jesus is like, "Guys,
But
Save the Brick Center.
what have I taught you?"
But Thomas won't break dance.
No,
He's like,
no.
"I don't break dance with this guy because that's not my guy."
Thomas
And
is always-
Jesus is like, "Oh, you want me to prove that I'm Jesus?" And he breaks out the most awesome breakdance moves.
Yeah. Because Thomas is like always the Debbie Downer of the class.
Right.
So when
So speaking of Red Dead Redemption,
So what's in this energy drink again?
right, but yeah, so the game. So like there's
Rafik
a
is so good at bringing everything full circle again.
if you'll notice, I brought everything full circle
No, I
again.
don't even remember what we were talking about, but Rafik is like, but what I was saying
Yeah,
was...
in response to what I said, "You son of a bitch."
but there's a moment. There's a small mechanic in the game where if you want to level up faster, you can do chores around your base camp. Right.
That sounds thrilling.
And
This is
that's
a game.
and that's my exact point. Is like
Do you want to walk the dog or
right,
the cow?
exactly.
Oh God.
There's a moment where
I have an ally.
no, don't get me wrong. This is the one time when it comes to video games that I am agreeing with you. Because there's a moment where I'm chopping digital firewood, and I'm going like, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm doing digital chores to avoid doing real world chores.
I work with a guy who got, I don't even know the name, don't ask me. Some new pirate game was coming out. And he was like going this guy is Mr. Nothing excites me, I'm too cool for everything in the room. But he would not stop talking about this pirate game. It wasn't even out yet. And he's going around telling everybody in the office, "It's awesome. Everybody on the boat can be a different part of the crew."
Sea of Thieves.
Is it Sea of Thieves? Like one guy is just the poop deck boy, and one guy deals with the sails, and one guy... And I'm like, I just lean in. I'm like, so it's a game where I get to work on a ship. That sounds so thrilling. Hey, there's a game called Mario. Nonstop action. You're jumping on shit. You're throwing fireballs. It's fucking great. Every time he and I have tried to play any game together, he ends up on a horse and just goes in a straight line for 12 minutes. I'm like, what a thrilling fucking game this is. This is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
See, but that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, at least my problem has been this past week, where it's like, games, movies, books, all these people are confusing content for entertainment. Like, you're just packing the screen full of things that you can do if you want to, and it's like, this doesn't progress anything.
Yeah.
This doesn't make me feel like a cool cowboy or whatever. This makes me feel like I washed clothes in camp. You know what I should have done? Wash my clothes in real life. That would have been really smart for me to do.
You need a streamlined. I'm with you, man. Especially on a video game. Get me from A to B, and let me kill monsters on the way. And I don't want to deal with any more than that.
Right. My thing is like I'm about the engagement. When I bought the book, right, which is called X Heroes, it's an interesting concept, right? It's The Walking Dead except with superheroes, right?
Okay.
The thing I told the guy at the bookstore is like, I'm looking for a book to be all-consuming, right? I want a book that when I open it up, I go, holy shit, and then I read through.
And he went, oh, I have just the book for you.
Right.
And he popped like 4 zits, pushed up his glasses.
No, it's more like he put like his septum back.
Oh, excuse me, I've got to put my appliance back in my nose.
Maybe you have the wrong person to.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't
maybe.
the guy.
Yeah, but like, it's just, I feel like that's missing now because you watch TV or whatever, and like none of it feels engaging.
Yeah, welcome to America. Dude, how many Fast and the Furious movies did they make?
We talked about this on the last episode, though. You don't have to watch everything.
I know. It's not like it's required viewing, but I'm saying, when I'm sitting here scrolling through the things to watch, and everyone goes, oh, this thing is so popular.
Yeah, but everyone is usually wrong. If you just go through life with knowing that,
I like her.
it will lower all your expectations.
Right.
The number of movies and TV shows that I simply will not talk about because everyone around me loves them, and in my heart of hearts, I know it's a giant turd. So I just don't even. When everyone starts talking about how 300 is the greatest movie of all time, I don't even chime in. I just sit in the call. Everyone.
But that's the question you should ask. According to who?
Yeah, when that movie came out, I mean, it's a movie with gore and boobs. I was at a church one time where a church group was planning to go watch 300. That's how much that movie was loved when it came out.
That's how I feel about Star Wars, and I know this is going to break a lot of hearts. I have tried from the time I
Which one?
Any of them.
Really?
So yeah, totally started coming out. I've tried to watch multiple of, I don't know how many movies there are of them, at different stages in my life over the last 20 years, and every single time. I know I have an issue with falling asleep during movies, but if the movie is really good, I will not fall asleep. Star Wars, I cannot. And I'm just okay, so basically there's a bunch of dudes in the sky shooting each other, and then the only girl that really shows up is in a bikini and is a sex slave for a moment. Yay! This is intriguing.
That sounds like a masterpiece that you just described.
To be fair,
there is no to be fair. Do not try.
No.
I know you're to be fair.
There are so many worms all over this table. I was going to stay out of it, but you've poked the bear.
I've had this conversation with so many people, so many guys that I've friends, so many guys that I've dated, that as soon as they found out that I can't watch Star Wars, they're just like,
I don't think I love you.
I'm reevaluating our relationship, and I'm like, better you than me.
I'm not advocating that you should watch Star Wars or that you have to like it. I will just say this. The first time you see Leia, she shoots a dude.
Still don't care. The second time, the third time. Do you know how problematic that movie is? It's just so problematic. And I get people that like it because to me, film is art. So totally okay, we don't all have to like the same shit. I think Dave Chappelle is super talented and I love his work ethic, but it's one of those things that when you ask someone that's not a comedian who's your favorite comedian, they're always going to name 5 people that they know. Dave Chappelle is usually one of them just because he's been around the longest, he had the most exposure, right? And outside of that, they don't know how else to figure out and deconstruct what they like and what is actually interesting to me. It's just they have this small pool of, Star Wars, everybody's watching it, I need to watch it. Walking Dead, like, I can't watch zombie movies, they're not interesting to me. If you like them, cool.
You don't think
I will not watch it. I won't.
So
What movie did you not fall asleep in?
Well, I don't know, name a movie.
I don't know if it ever actually happened.
Right.
No, definitely, there are some. I just same thing, like, I'm not going to watch a movie because everyone says it's great, because I've gone down that road too, and I'm just like, I'm so disappointed.
Right, and that's fair, but, like, at least me, my problem is I get my hopes up because I'm like, everyone hypes up the thing.
Yeah.
They go like, oh my goodness, Game of Thrones, best show ever, right?
Yeah.
And I watch it and I'm like...
5 episodes. Gave up.
Right.
Gave up.
See, it's
like,
5 hours of my life.
Yeah.
I went, I don't want to watch this anymore. And I'm out.
I watched it all the way through, right? I enjoyed the vast majority of it. I thought strong writing in certain portions, back and forth. But there is a certain point, especially on that last season, where I went like, what the fuck did I spend all this time on? Right? Everyone was hyping this thing up. And I was one of those people, and then I got to the end, and I was like, well, this was a giant waste of time. I need to go on an apology tour. To like go around and be like, I'm so sorry. I told you about the show. I wish I could give you that time back.
You know the bit I used to do about this.
Yeah.
But I had so many friends who wouldn't let me get away with, I don't care for it.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to watch it. I'm okay.
Yeah.
My life is as bad as it would be with Game of Thrones in it. I'm okay. I've got other things I'm interested in. I'm fine.
Totally.
But Alan, how are you going to be miserable?
I had a friend, one friend in particular is real bad about that. He spent 15 minutes telling me what a piece of shit Man of Steel was.
Yeah.
And then the next 15 minutes going, no, but you have to see it. Like, you just told me I'm gonna die. I don't need to spend the 2 hours. The cave is in the distance, man. We're all gonna get there. Do I need to spend 2 hours walking on broken glass to get to the cave? I'm fine. I don't need to. You know what? I'll go back to the 30 years of Superman comics I read prior to that film coming out. I'm okay. I don't need.
Well, guess what? When you're up at the pearly gates and St. Peter goes, well, how'd you like Man of Steel? And you go like, he's going to be like, well, remember that podcast conversation? Sorry, man.
Yow.
I think especially now that we have such like a more of a variety of entertainment to access and to have choices to opt into. You know, not everyone's sitting around the same TV set with the same 3 channels. So the concept of popular culture has become more diluted, and we have to really deconstruct what that means. But I feel like people now, like what you watch and what you see and what you invest your time in, it speaks a lot to like your personality or what you value. You like your friend that says how terrible something is, but he still wants to do it. Okay, so maybe he's intrigued by like the writing or the characters, and he doesn't care how shitty it is, or maybe he's just masochistic and he only feels okay when he does stuff that really hurts his soul. Like, that's not you.
Rafik, you got anything to add to that?
You know?
Fuck you. Don't you call me out on my own podcast.
Oh, was that friend you?
No, it wasn't.
My bad.
No, I'm shitting with you. Like, in all seriousness, I definitely understand what you're saying. But, like, there's a certain thing where it's like, you do want to connect with people. You
right,
know
but
what I mean?
how you choose to connect with them can vary. You don't have to watch the same shit.
Yeah, okay, but it's very difficult. Like, if everyone loves Harry Potter, it's very difficult to connect with all those people who love Harry Potter.
I am so okay with not connecting with Harry Potter lovers, and I'm so okay with not being like a Disney head. Those are 2 things and Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Disney. Love that y'all love them. Tried to watch them, tried to be part of it. Not my bag. Moving on.
So I think it goes back to what I was asking before. What is your movie that you've sat?
Interesting, compelling
movies.
What's
Your movie?
I don't have just one movie, but I can tell you actors that I love watching. If we're talking about film,
okay, give me your actor.
I have watched any movie as long as it's not a horror movie with Toni Collette.
Love Toni Collette.
With Emma Thompson.
I have been a huge Toni Collette fan.
Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah, Emma Thompson. I can watch her in anything because I know.
Can't even access who that is in my brain.
Did you ever see Stranger Than Fiction?
Yes.
Yes, Emma Thompson.
The writer, the novelist.
Got her. Love her.
She's
yeah,
English
she's great.
trained, born. She's been in everything. Anthony Hopkins, I can watch even if the movie is terrible. I fucking love him. I'm spellbound.
So for you, it's more about the execution of the art than necessarily what the art is itself.
Sure. Like here's how I go into movies. Like,
okay,
if there's a certain actor, for some actors, it's almost like your level of like, oh, you're an ex-pro member because you've done this. Like at a certain level, I don't know if y'all can relate. Like if I know Emma Thompson's in a movie, it's sort of like her just being in that movie has vetted so many of the levels for me because every movie I've
it's already
seen her
3
in,
stars. Just
she's probably chosen it because it's a damn good script, and she's going to be good, and she's not going to take crap from people, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
anything with Julia Louis-Dreyfus in it, Veep, Seinfeld, all the shows that she's done, she's fucking so smart and hilarious. I will at least give it a try.
She definitely is, but what about those people that just do a cash grab?
Anything with The Rock, I will not watch. He's hot, but it's never good.
So what's your favorite Emma Thompson movie?
I can't pick. Much Ado About Nothing, Stranger Than Fiction, 2 of my top ones. Yeah.
Stranger Than Fiction is great.
So good.
Yeah.
And Will Ferrell, I have to say, like, I couldn't really watch him on a lot of movies. I liked him in Elf. I like him in some SNL. But I like him as a dramatic actor. He's so good.
I find that one of the very interesting things about comedians as a whole when it comes to acting is, like, there's this weird thing that when they transition from comedy to, like, the more serious roles, like horror, drama, romance, whatever, there's a way or something that happens to them allows them to access, like, a magnitude of emotions that you don't normally see. Like when you see Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk, like that's a way different than seeing him in what was the one with Dads or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's like Daddy Daycare or whatever.
Yeah. With David Spade and
right. Like watching Adam Sandler do one like.
What the fuck is the name of that movie?
Yeah, I think
it's one of those times that we don't.
We don't.
But it's like
it was a movie.
But it's like when you watch Robin Williams and like Mrs. Doubtfire, and then watch him in.
Yeah, but he was a Juilliard trained actor too. He was theater first.
Don't you feel like though not every time, but don't you feel like a lot of times comedy actors doing drama, they're still basically playing a comedy role? Like the stuff that's coming out of their mouth isn't funny. Yeah. The situation isn't funny. But like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul is full of comedians. And they are really funny. Even though the situation isn't a comedic situation,
right?
But
they're still playing like a comedy role.
Well,
do you know them as comedians because that's when you came first to know them, or have you looked into their background and are they theater trained? And because maybe that's just a set of like skills that they have always had and nurtured that you just weren't aware of until this moment.
It's that thing. It's the Coen Brothers thing where their dramas are comedies. You know what I mean? Like there's always something.
There's something darkly funny about it. Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking specifically Breaking Bad. There are guys whose faces I think I fucking know that guy, and then I found out later, that's Joe DeRosa. So I still found him kind of funny, like not laugh out loud belly laughs, but like he's clearly like the funny frustrated guy or whatever.
I guess I think the best way to ask this question would be is it different for you because you do improv?
Is what different for
me? Like experiencing art and watching movies and things like that. Because are you
different for me compared to comedians or compared to the masses?
Star Wars. Wow. compared to the masses. Who else you compare?
The plebes who watch Star Wars.
I don't speak to the peasant's mind, but no.
I could just see Natasha in a carriage, like some poor head is like, Star Wars, milady! She throws out a handkerchief, is like, ugh, off of his head.
Boy in a loincloth feeding her grapes.
In terms of
you went more Roman. I went more Victorian England.
Whatever.
More Roman. That was
tomato.
I love how he said 2 material objects and we could all like zone in on that. Loincloth and grapes. And lots of homosexual sex.
Doy.
I don't know, but I will say like I think some of it comes from maybe the improv, maybe the theater training, but like also the I've always been like a reader and a writer. Like ever since I was a kid, like I know this is nerdy and it's cliche, but like I felt so comfortable in books in my corner in my room, just like reading and like words. And so the writing, I think the writing element, when I see a show, a live show, a film, listen to radio, it's like I need to hear and appreciate the rhythm of whatever narrative there is for me to be engaged and hooked. And then I think the other thing, we've talked about this before, like you and I both grew up like around the world or like moving a lot. And so I think for better or for worse, that sort of fed my sense of like, what is funny, what is okay, what is artistic. It's just like a mix of all these things that can't be pinned down.
Well, because like you have a broad range of experiences. Like for me, when I look at American humor, there are a lot of moments where I'm like, that's funny and I can understand that. But there's also a lot of times where someone shows me like English humor where I'm like, holy shit, this is genius. Right? Like there's a whole show from back in the day called Are You Being Served?
I thought you were going to say Monty Python.
No.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard. I don't know if you know about this show.
But like there's a whole thing in which they have a character who is clearly gay, right? And there's also another character on the show who they never discuss the fact that he's probably gay too. But there are a lot of moments where like these two characters will interact and the clearly gay one will be like sorting through handkerchiefs in the department store and knock one over the edge. And then he bends over to pick it up. And meanwhile, like, customer comes in and the guy who they never talk about whether he's gay or not will just turn and now he's right behind the guy's ass, and he was like, yes, ma'am, how can I help you? We're a little busy right now. And you watch that, and I go, that's smart, because you didn't have to tell us what the gag was. We just saw it, and you can just miss that because it's a wink in the night, and it's gone. Right? Because then the next thing they say is an actual scripted joke. Right? But,
so... I'm so fascinated now by your film taste. I just want to keep digging into this. Do you have directors that you follow or writers?
Directors and writers actually more so on like TV now. I've seen like a lot of like HBO or Hulu stuff that I really dig, and I will like follow them.
Well, because when you said rhythm, I thought of the first one that popped in my head was Tarantino.
Yeah.
You know, everything he does is musical.
I mean, Alan just wants to use the N-word. Alan just wants to say the word nigger and
hey, whoa, hold on. I wish I had I'm gonna insert a siren.
In case anyone's triggered at home.
I mean, I think the only director that I explicitly like follow or seek out works from with Shakespearean stuff was Kenneth Branagh, who was married to Emma Thompson, and they both are just like two of the greatest.
So you're just all up in that family, like.
There's something.
I would encourage you.
I have taste outside of that.
You probably won't like it. I would encourage you to watch the first Thor movie that was directed by Branagh, and it's guys in ridiculous comic book costumes, but at no point does it feel silly. Somehow Kenneth Branagh made this absurd Thor movie with frost giants and shit. Like, it feels Shakespearean.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
I
really
love
good.
that.
Now, speaking of really good,
yes.
we have about 12 minutes left. I want to introduce you to a very close friend of the podcast. I'll just give it to you. You can just react to this however you need to. He's kind of become a mascot on our show. Anything you'd like to say about what you're holding in your hand there?
I don't know what this is about.
What does it look like to you?
Yeah. Tell us what you see.
Tell us what you see. Describe your thoughts.
It's a white man with bushy eyebrows and a fake tan.
Uh-huh.
It looks like it might be a comedy CD.
Sure. Is there anything on the CD that strikes your interest? Anything about the title?
Do you want me to read the title?
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
Anyone who's listened to this podcast already knows what this is.
He uses ellipses too much.
He sure does.
And any punctuation.
I wish anyone listening to this could see how your face. You look like you're smelling a fart.
Yeah, I don't know how to take this. What? I feel like there's a joke that I don't know.
Oh, the joke is what you're looking at.
Yeah, right.
There's really no more context than what you're holding in your hand.
Do I have to listen to it?
You do. Yes, you will be.
How will you know if I do? You should test me on it?
We're going to do at least one. It's 57 seconds long. The title is Waiting for a Train.
I feel like I'm being baited.
It will not be about waiting for a train because the titles are mismatched in the title sheet. We did find one that matched, and we threw a party.
We've technically won.
Yeah,
because we
really don't have to do this anymore. But it's also like, how am I going to torture my guest if I don't do this? Right?
I can't wait.
It's this is Ed the Machine Regime. This is track number 20. It will not be about trains. It is called Waiting for a Train.
So these 3 dogs are sitting in the waiting room at the veterinary's office.
Yeah.
There's a German Shepherd, a Saint Bernard, and a Great Dane. So the German Shepherd says to the Great Dane, he goes, what are you here for? And the Great Dane says, well, he says, I'm a chewer. I chew everything. I chew the furniture. I chew shoes, slippers. I'm a chewer. And the German Shepherd looks at the Saint Bernard and says, what are you here for? And he says, I'm a digger. He says, I dig up holes in the yard. I dig up, in the front yard, the backyard. I'm digging up everything.
In case you didn't know what a yard
the German
was.
Shepherd, and they go, well, what are you here for? And he goes, well, I'm a humper. He said, I hump anything that moves. He said, in fact, the other day, he said, the lady of the house was getting out of the shower, and she bent over, and I got behind her, and boom, I humped her for 20 minutes straight. Mm-hmm. And the 2 dogs says, wow, you're probably going to get some serious medication. And he says, no, I'm just here to get my nails clipped.
Because, see, what happened was, when the dog had sex with a human being, the human being didn't fight it off, but it did hurt her with the nails.
Right.
That's what that joke was about.
It's in case you didn't see it on the front of the CD, there's a parental advisory.
Oh, I saw that.
So, what do you think?
What do you think about old Ed, the Machine Regime?
This is a real comedian?
Yes.
This was bought on a cruise for me by someone who didn't know that I would use it as endless fodder on a podcast.
Did they listen to it?
They saw his act. I'm pretty sure they didn't, but they probably would have liked it if they had heard it. This is real. You're not making this up. You didn't hallucinate any of this.
That's what I feel like someone dropped something in my drink for the last time.
No. Yeah, this guy's a real guy. We looked him up last time. Finally, we've been listening to this CD on this podcast for a while now. We've only hit the first 20 tracks. There's 100 of them. And one of us finally, after all this time, went, hey, let's look him up on the internet. It didn't get much better when we saw his act. Now, his act is at least original. These are street jokes.
Yeah.
But the best one, this was on Jay Leno. This was on Jay Leno.
Oh, yeah.
This was on Jay Leno. I apologize if this is a rude question to ask. What is your background, nationality? Because it's relevant. It's relevant to what I want to say.
I'm Lebanese, Ecuadorian, and Italian.
Okay. So, on Jay Leno, Jay Leno is looking at the camera and he goes, our show is being broadcast all over the world. Let's see what it looks like in India. And then it just turns into all the worst Indian stereotypes you could ever come up with. And old Ed here is playing the Indian Jay Leno. So this clearly not Indian guy, whatever the hell he is going, doing the voice. And,
Wait, so he was on Jay Leno playing that part?
He was on Jay Leno playing Indian Jay Leno in brownface.
I'm so confused by everything you're saying.
What we're trying to tell you is that if you want to be on Jay Leno,
they might have a part for me.
Well, sure. Yeah, this is it. He, I want to put him in the octagon. I want him. I want him bad.
This was inspiring.
Yeah, we.
Oh yeah, and he's a headliner. He's a headliner.
Well, is he a headliner? Every picture we saw of the guy was him standing next to someone way more famous. And it was like, oh, I know that guy. Not the famous guy, but like, I know the guy who goes to all the shows and takes his picture with the famous guy and then puts it on his website. Like, look who I fucking hang out with.
Yeah.
That's Ed the Machine. Our second episode, we just finally started releasing these. We've recorded for a while.
Yeah.
Our second episode is just called Ed the Machine Virginia. So I'm praying for an email or a letter or something. I want his attention. At this point, I'm screaming into the wind. I want Ed to notice me.
Are you just hoping for the universe to construct that, like, meet cute, or are you gonna like cash it?
Meet cute.
Look,
yes.
it is. There is not a question in my mind that Ed is Googling himself every night. So at some point,
However, looking at the grammatic structure of his title, he might be spelling his name wrong.
well, that's true. I can't.
Putting way too much faith and confidence in his Googling abilities.
But
also, he looks like he's at least 70, so he might not own a computer.
How's it a meet cute if
he
doesn't
is.
find Alan?
Well, he is. He didn't sell this digitally. He sold it on a fucking 50 slim pack of burned CDs.
But is he performing on cruises?
Yeah.
So why the fuck am I not?
That's what Rafiq always says.
Right. That's part of the reason
But
why.
here's what I need both of you to understand.
What?
The people on
This is a
cruises.
white man's world?
It's a white man's world. The sooner I can get you to, others to figure that out.
The thing is, we need to start working in whiteface.
Right?
I want that. I need that in my life. Rafiq, will you please start working in whiteface and do like a really... I'm trying to even think of what the whiteface
You
version.
can't see he's sort of doing jazz hands right now.
Well, because I'm thinking if you're in blackface, you have to do jazz hands with the gloves on.
He's pulling out his yoga mat.
Right. So yes, yoga mat. Oh, I'm trying to think of the exaggerated
PBR.
version of the white. Of course, you would have to talk like this. Oh, hello, I'm Mr. White Guy. It'd have to be first of all. Also, instead of a big, because blackface, I just take the red and just put it all over my mouth. You have to put two little thin right on the tips of your big, beautiful brown lips. You just gotta take two little pink lines. You gotta put in some kind of butt flattener.
Right.
There's so much to be done.
I would just
here.
have to wax my eyebrows entirely off and then just maybe draw them back on poorly.
Sure.
I feel like the whiteface voice is more 1950s Leave It to Beaver, golly gee, guys.
Perfect.
Boy, did I tell you guys about the one of two guys going to a bar before?
To the soda shop.
To the soda shop?
The jerk joint.
Right, because bars are a house of sin.
So, I'll be seeing you in whiteface on Wednesday. You'll have to bleach your hair.
This podcast just took a possibly dangerous turn.
A wonderful turn. Everything
I hope
is
you
great.
get to make your bromance happen.
It's not about bromance.
What is it about?
I want him against me.
He's doing the evil scientist hand thing again.
Yeah, I want him to know the pain he's brought me, and I want to take him down with me. We're both going to go.
Where are you going?
I don't know, but this Zeppelin is going down in flames. I either want him to sue me, or I want to get him on this microphone and just berate him for an hour.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm just evil enough that I want to watch.
Have you listened to the whole album off the air?
No. We listen to these as...
So you were this offended by listening to 10 to 20 of his...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So the first episode we did of him, the second episode of this podcast,
Yeah.
the whole episode was just Rafiq and I, nobody else, just playing the next one, playing the next one, playing the next
How
one.
how far did
We
you get?
got maybe 10, probably not even that
Right.
far. And by the end of it, at first we were laughing at it, oh, it's so bad. It starts with wacky music, the first, But then, by the end of it, we were, miserable.
Right.
This isn't funny anymore. I fucking
It's
hate this guy.
exhausting.
It's
Like,
really...
Was it the lack of humor, or was it just this is
There's so...
bordering racist, misogynist,
There's
all of the things.
so many things
There
wrong.
are
Boundaries.
so many layers to sift through when you're talking about little Ed.
Whole other podcast.
So it's not even racist, meaning he will bring up ethnicities in the joke. There's a Chinese guy, an Italian guy, and their ethnicities don't matter. why did you tell me?
Right.
Like, if you had at least made it racist, there's comedy there, right?
Is there?
Well, you know what I mean. Like, there's at least a joke. Whether it's an offensive joke, that's a different question. But, like, there's something there. Otherwise, you're just giving me detail.
He's just
for
giving you
no
more data than you need.
Right. Well, you just heard how many. I dig in the front yard, the backyard, the side of the yard. Like, I know what a yard is.
Right.
I know what a yard is. Just keep the joke moving, man.
Or even the fact that he named the different types of dogs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Why do you need to know
Why
it's
did
a
I need to
German
know the
Shepherd?
3 different breeds?
Like, what does that do for you? So you know how you felt exhausted listening to that one joke?
I was just confused. I was waiting for the punchline, and then when the end of the joke came, I was like, is there more?
Where's the funny bit?
Not that I want to hear it, but maybe I do.
It's like, where's the joke in this joke?
All right,
I
kids.
just feel sad now.
Right?
Yeah,
You
well,
should, because
and-
you listen to Ed.
Ed the Machine Regime tends to have that effect on people.
He's sad.
This is not the first podcast
Where
we've
can
ended
I
on.
click on the screen for it to turn into
Ah, that
Open
was a
another
callback. That was a fucking callback. It was
See,
beautiful.
this is why I said talented at the beginning.
Oh, beautiful. Great way to end it. All right, we're at an hour. Let's get out of here, guys. This is called So How About This? My name is Alan Dempsey.
I'm Rafiq Shaheen, and before we go, Natasha, is there anything you want to plug? Social media, anything like that?
I don't know if I want anyone that listened to this podcast.
Whoa!
No,
Ouch.
this specific episode.
Ouch.
No, this
That
specific
hurts.
episode. I'm just kidding. I want everyone to be friends. Just like follow me on all the grams and books at Natasha Samreny.
And books? Do you have books?
Do you read?
She has books.
Right?
I'll read your book. I haven't read a
Okay.
book in a while.
I haven't written a book yet. Don't tell my mom. She still thinks that's the only way I can be a writer.
Nice. All right, so how about this?
So how about this?
Thanks, guys.
How about this?
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
How about this?
How about this?